Start.
Hello students, welcome to online biology class. Today we are going with the next part of excretory system, that is excretion, the wastage disposal system. Children, have you ever observed few elders complaining about swelling of their foot and hands? Yes, right? I hope you people have listened that, especially in old age people. So swelling of the foot and hands, so this is a common problem. Of course, we have discussed about this in our unit 3 circulation. There, that is the problem is called as edema. The thing is, due to accumulation of lymph, so there is going to be swelling. Of course, so we are going to discuss the same thing here, swelling of foot and also hands, but this is completely different from the past what we have discussed. What is the reason for this swelling? So this is what we are, and what is the treatment for this particular problem? This is what we are going to discuss in today's class. So we know that the structural and functional unit of kidneys are nephrons, right? And we have even studied, so each kidney is being made up of 1.3 to 1.8 million nephrons. Am I right? Okay, then we have even studied that, so as age increases, 10% of functioning of nephrons is going to be damaged, or it is going to become less efficient. Now, so if the same thing goes on, what happens? If suppose if kidney is going to be functionless, what happens? Can you imagine? Yes. Suppose if one kidney is being failed, the other kidney takes up the responsibility of the failed kidney. So that means, so both kidneys functioning is being done by only one kidney. Now, what happens when two kidneys are going to be failed, right? So that particular condition where two kidneys are being failed, we call it as acute renal failure. What do we call? Acute renal failure. Right. So that means what? Both the kidneys are being failed. So now even that particular situation, it is even called as end stage. That means what? Complete. This stage is end. For what? So end stage renal. Renal refers to kidneys, right? Disease, right? End stage renal disease, right? In short, we denote it as ESRD. E stands for end, S stands for stage, R stands for renal, and D stands for disease. End stage renal disease. You know, acute, that means what? Completely, right? So that means this renal failure is irreversible. Once again, you can't make the kidney functioning. That particular stage is. Now let us try to understand. So why this renal, what failure is going to take place, or what are the causes of renal failure? The first most thing which is infections. Due to infection in the kidney, that may be a bacterial infection, that may be viral infection, or any protozoan or parasitic helminthic worm infections, right? So that may be because of any of the infection, kidney may become failure. Or yes, due to the toxins, right? So that any poisonous toxins which are being produced by disease causing organisms, or even certain drugs what we take them as our medicines. Because of all these things, so kidney might be failure, or kidney may become infunctioning, right? So due to toxins. The next, the other thing, right? Even we can even take the best example of painkillers, what we use more and more, right? Due to that also it may not work. Then next, the other thing, why it is being failed is due to high blood pressure. So due to high blood pressure, so kidneys may be failed. But because pressure of filtration is more on the kidneys because of that. Then next, one more thing. So due to high blood sugar levels. Due to high blood sugar levels also, so kidneys may be failed. Of course, these are few causes which are making kidney damage. Now, so we want to understand whether kidney is functioning properly or not. So we want to go for tests, right? If you want to know the testing, so what we need to do, we need to go for a blood test. Now, definitely, when you go for blood test, if the particular samples like urea, right? If urea is more in the blood, so or even some ketone bodies, right? If they are excess in our blood, or else if sugar, of course, this may be even the indication of diabetes also, right? So then one more thing, if bile salts and bile pigments, if excess amount of bile salts, excess amount of bile pigments, right? If they are also increased in our blood, and so one more most important thing apart from urea is albumin. If albumin levels are also more in our blood, if any of these components are increased in our blood, that indicates there is kidney problem, renal failure, right? So, and among this, the principal component is urea. If urea is being increased in our blood, so then that particular clinical condition, we refer it as uremia. What do we refer? We refer it as uremia. Now, because of this excess amount of urea in our blood, water levels, they start accumulating, which results in swelling of body parts. And what happens if this condition happens, right? What it results, right? So what all these things are unwanted or waste metabolites. They start interfering with our metabolic functions. When they start interfering with our metabolic functions, then it results in sluggishness, slowness of our metabolism. Then we feel tired, we feel exhausted. So, and we may not function properly. So now during this particular condition, right, during this uremia, when kidneys are being failed, doctors, they advise the patients to go with artificial kidney. Right? They suggest them to go with artificial kidneys. Right? Now what is this artificial kidney? So actually artificial kidney is a dialyzer machine. And this dialyzer machine, it works under the principle of dialysis. It works under the principle of dialysis. Now, what actually dialysis mean? Right? So, dialysis is nothing but separation of low molecules from large molecules by using a semi-permeable membrane. So, this process is called as dialysis. What is dialysis? Separation of low molecules from large molecules through a semi-permeable membrane is called as dialysis. And here in this machine, which is being undergoing dialysis process? Blood. So therefore, we call it as hemodialysis. This particular process, we call it as hemodialysis. Okay, that means the same thing. From blood, so small molecules are being removed, are separated from large molecules. Small molecules like urea, ketone body, sugar, bile salts, bile pigments, albumin. They are separated from large molecules like proteins. Okay. So through a semi-permeable membrane from the blood. So that is hemodialysis. So for every 3 to 4 months, once in every 3 to 4 months, right? So what happens? So doctors, they advise the patients to undergo a dialysis. Of course, the frequency of dialysis depends upon the fluid intake of those particular patients. Then next, so apart from this, so once when they go for dialysis, right, it takes nearly about 4 to 6 hours to undergo this complete process. Now generally what do they do in this dialysis? Let us try to see. Right, the dialyzer machine, it contains, right, so dialysis chamber. This is dialysis chamber. Now in this dialysis chamber, it is completely filled with dialyzer fluid. Dialyzer machine, it is containing dialyzer chamber. In this, there is dialyzer fluid. This chamber is going to contain an inlet, a pose and outlet. So from this inlet, we are going to supply or pass the dialyzer fluid. From the outlet, we are going to collect the excess amount of dialyzer fluid. From the inlet, so we are passing the dialyzer fluid. From the outlet, we are collecting the excess amount of dialyzer fluid. Okay. Now, in this dialyzer chamber, there are certain tubes which are parallelly arranged. We can look at the parallelly arranged tubes, right? So these are made up of a component which is called as cellophane. So therefore we call them as cellophane tubes. Now when we are going to consider the functioning of dialyzer machine, so dialyzer machine functioning, we can consider it towards the kidney, right? They are equivalent processes for kidneys. And the other thing, when we are going to consider about the cellophane tube, they are equivalent to nephrons. You know, nephrons are the structural and functional unit of our kidneys, right? They are equivalent to nephrons. Okay. Now they are semi-permeable membrane structures. Now what happens here? You can look after. So this cellophane tubes are being connected to the artery of the patient. Okay, they are being connected to the artery of the patient. So the blood is being drawn from the arteries of the patient. You know, when our blood comes out, the blood is being clotted. In order to prevent from clotting, right? So an anticoagulant which is called as heparin is being added. An anticoagulant, heparin, is being added to the blood. And so the blood, when it is being taken out, right, that is being allowed to 0 degrees Celsius. And the blood is being pumped into the cellophane tubes. Now what type of blood we are being taken from the patient? The blood with all this nitrogenous waste material which are in the excess. Now these waste materials are being drawn back into from the tube, cellophane tubes, into the dialyzer fluid. Now dialyzer fluid is being increased. Now the collected dialyzer fluid is being pumped out. Now the blood, after filtration, this is being taken back, right, into the patient or victim's body, and that is being given into the veins. And once again, here also we add heparin, which is an anticoagulant. Along with heparin, we bring the blood temperature to the normal human body temperature. Then we pump the blood back into the patient body. This is how filtration process is going to take place outside our body. So therefore, we call it as artificial kidney. What did we discuss? Blood is being drawn. So anticoagulant is being given. Temperature is being decreased. They are pumped to cellophane tubes. The cellophane tubes are semi-permeable. Then, so the materials, the dialyzer fluid composition and blood composition will be same. But here blood contains this nitrogenous material and here dialyzer fluid do not contain. So therefore from higher concentration to lower concentration, diffusion is going to take place. Then the collected dialyzer fluid which is in excess, that is being collected, and fresh dialyzer fluid is being replaced. Now the filtered blood, it is being injected to the veins. Once again, blood is being brought to the normal human temperature, and and heparin is being added. This is how dialysis process is going to take place. And why it is being added to veins? You know, veins, they take the blood to heart. From heart, they go to the lungs. In the lungs, blood becomes oxygenated. Now, which type of blood here? Impure blood, without any impurities, right? So that is being oxygenated. Now that oxygenated blood once again supplied to all the body parts and to have our normal metabolism, right? So this is about that. Now what are the questions can be asked here according to our academic standard 6 and 7? What are the how do you or what precautions do you take to keep your kidneys healthy, right? So you know we need not suffer from hypertension. Why? Because this is one of the reason, and blood sugar. So the food habits, right? And we should keep healthy, so without any infections or toxins. That means what we need to take good amount of water. By this we can keep our kidneys healthy. Like that you can go with that. And apart from that, so one more question what you can take is, what is ESRD? Then one more question, define dialysis. What is uremia? Right? What are the symptoms of uremia? Then essay answer is, describe or explain about dialysis. Right? What are the questions? What define ESRD? One more question, define dialysis. One more question, define uremia and what are the symptoms of uremia. Two more question. Then one more question what we have discussed. So what precautions do you take to keep your kidneys healthy? And one more essay answer. So what you are going to take is, explain the process of dialysis. Right? These are the questions for today, children. I hope you people understand. I give you 1 minute time to copy this into your notebook. Thank you, children. Have a nice day.